Hello, I'm your host, Kelly Eckhart, and welcome to the Future Edit. Hello and welcome back to the Future Edit. I'm your host, Kelly Eckhart. This week, I am talking with Utsa D. She is the owner of The Practical Cook, and she specializes in educating people about Bengali cuisine. And she also makes these amazing spice packs, so you can also incorporate some Bengali food into your weekly routine of trying this new kind of food, because Bengali food is very different to other kinds of Indian cuisine, because obviously there's so many different regions within India. So she explains what Bengali food it actually is, and also talks about how within Bengali culture, they incorporate Ayurveda into their everyday life. Ayurveda is just a part of their culture, a part of their routine. It's about using spices and food that already exist in your kitchen cabinets, and how this really helps with health, mental health, anything around using natural ingredients that you already have in the kitchen. So she gives so many great tips on well-being and health, and also how important it is to connect with other people and have a community, and how she also hopes that through her cooking, through her spices, and through her packs, she can bring people together and teach them about more Bengali cuisine and educate people in this area. So let's talk to Utsa.
Hi, Utsa. Thank you so much for being here today on the podcast. How you doing?
Thank you so much, Kelly. Oh my God, I'm doing really good. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much. We were going to meet today, Utsa and I, but the rain and the weather, and Utsa is pregnant, very pregnant, and I live on the fourth floor, and I said, I'm not going to do that to you. Let's just do this via Zoom, which is nice because then we can both sit comfortable. So I'm just glad I get to chat to her today. So Utsa, thank you so much again for being here. Why don't we start off with you introducing yourself and give us a background of who you are, and then we'll go into your Ayurveda and cooking and all that good stuff.
Awesome. So thank you again, Kelly, for having me. I am from India. I am actually from the eastern part of India. I come from the city of Joy, Calcutta. So I'm a Bengali. India, of course, it's a very diverse country. So when you're talking about, when you're coming from India, we talk about different regions and different states, because, again, we have a lot of cultural differences. Even when you step inside India, there are different regions and there are different cultures. And for me, I come from the eastern part, which is, again, it has, different amalgamation of, cultures and diversity. And again, when I'm going to talk about food, we'll talk about the heritage and the diversity when it comes to food. But I've lived there. Then I did my schooling and my graduation from there. Then I moved to Mumbai, which is, of course, it's known for Bollywood. So I was doing my MBA. And no, I did meet all the stars, some of them, Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes. Oh,
cool. I'm a big Bollywood buff, okay? And then I went on to work in media for 10 years. I was in corporate sales and I was into branding, and that is what my forte was. And I moved to Bangalore. So I've moved in different parts of India, but of course I was closer to home. Meaning, of course, my country and Calcutta per se. But what I started missing when I moved out of home, that is Calcutta, is my mom. And there's someone who really takes care of me called Mongala Mashi. She's the house help, but she's like more like family. Yeah. And she basically knows in India, you have that one person when you just wake up in the morning and you're thinking of breakfast, she just reads your mind.
Oh,
yes. So nice. You don't even have to tell anyone what you want, because she knows you from the time you were born. So that's when I started missing food that took me back to my home.
Yeah.
And that's when I started developing the passion for cooking. And of course, it came over the years. I mean, I wouldn't say I absolutely loved it. There were
Yeah.
faux pas. I was on the verge of burning my kitchen down. I started with instant noodles. That was during college days, right? When you
Yeah.
move out of your city, you don't know what to eat. Instant noodles to the rescue. And it's
Yeah.
cheap. And you need to
Yeah.
save up.
It's cheap, man. Yes. I
So,
remember.
end of the month, instant noodles, of
Yep.
course. But then you graduate, right? Then you graduate into frying, then you graduate into baking or steaming. And that's when, at the end, it was all about missing home. And when you're
Yeah.
forced to literally cook for yourself. So
Nice.
that's when I started picking up my passion. And then the passion kind of grew in leaps and bounds when I moved to the US after marriage. It was, there wasn't any house help. There wasn't anyone to cook for me. I wouldn't be, hey, can you cook this for me? No, it was just me. And my
Yeah.
husband is a pathetic cook. So he can only steam stuff and boil stuff. And I cannot eat that. For me, I'm a big foodie.
Yeah.
I love trying different cuisines and I want good food. I mean, that's my happiness.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you're hungry, you can eat those crisps and you can have, whatever noodles or anything, but, your comfort zone is actually the food that you grew up on.
Yeah.
That's when I started learning how to cook my own, Bengali cuisine, calling up mom, calling up my relatives, having endless conversations over, Zoom or video calls, or just mom gave me a diary and she said, these are the basic things that you need to learn.
Yeah.
How much turmeric to put in dal or lentils, or how much salt to put in, making fish curry, or how much should you fry the fish? Because we never had any ideas. We had someone to do that.
Yeah.
But when you're all alone and independent and no one to fall back upon, that's when you start doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what I found was, people find their happiness through a lot of things. Even when you're meditating, it takes time. You're not going to take it in one go, right? It's a practice. You need to practice every day, and then you're going to get all your chakras aligned.
Yeah.
So for me, cooking was a practice every day. This was my zone. I didn't allow my husband to come into the kitchen. This was my, I felt this is my world.
Yeah.
Practicing with the spices, of course, getting them wrong. Initially, nothing was perfect. But then ultimately picking up and, at the end, your voila moment is when you pick up on that food and it tastes like home. So that is when I felt that, yes, this is something that I absolutely love, creating flavors that I grew up on. And then when people started coming in and, tasting my food, they said, why not go ahead and start talking about what you do, in the sense, what is Bengali cuisine?
Yeah.
Because it is, of course, Indian cuisine, but it's not the Indian cuisine that you get in the restaurants, because that's mostly North Indian.
And so then describe Bengali food for me. What is it? How do you describe it?
So it is basically history served in a platter. I mean,
I like that.
So because the way, West Bengal, of course, before the partition, I'm talking about Bengal in total.
Okay.
It was called Bangla, and then we had Bangladesh, a part of Bengal too, and it was Bengal per se, and we were the capital of basically for more than a half or close to, I think, 150 to 200 years.
Okay.
The Britishers, we were the capital of the British Raj. But prior to that, just imagine, I mean, if you look at a map of India, we were surrounded by the oceans, right? So it was a part of the Silk Route. So just imagine thousands of years back, all the traders coming in with their goodies of spices and trading.
Yeah.
So this is where we picked up different cuisines. So we have influences from European culture. We've got Persian. We've got, of course, the Mughals came and ruled us. So we have the Mughal influence and the Britisher influence too.
Yeah.
So just like, I'd say, an amalgamation of different cultures. And we have our own Bengali cuisine too, because the way we put our spices and we start cooking and everything, and even our history is different. Like for vegetarian food, of course, when you go to Bengal, the first thing you'll notice is fish.
Yeah.
We are known to be major fish eaters. So there's a term in Bengali called maj bhat. That is fish and rice.
Okay.
That is my comfort food. I cannot go without eating fish. At least, I mean, I need a fish for once a week at least.
Okay.
And that too, I need Bengali fish, not the salmons, not the cod, not the red snappers.
Yeah.
So for us, fish is important. It's so important that even in marriages, the fish is decked up as a bride and a groom.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yes. So there are two fishes. One represents the bride, the other represents the groom.
Yeah.
And then they are put together and they're given to the bride. So that means this is what fish is for us. But what is vegetarian cuisine? I mean, when you're talking to a Bengali, you'll be like, okay, that's what you eat, fish and rice. But
Yeah.
no, for us, vegetarian cuisine is actually brought by the widows of Bengal.
Okay.
So, of course, it's going back to history when, if I don't know if you know, but there was a ritual called sati.
Okay.
Right? So when you lose your husband, either you're burnt with him, okay? The next one is you're ostracized from the society.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So basically, you're clad in white and you're given spices and vegetables that would not stimulate or act like an aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Right? So these were very limited spices and very limited vegetables. That is what they were given.
Okay.
And they were the ones who basically came up with the Niramish or the vegetarian cuisine that we Bengalis have, and they are absolutely delicious.
Wow. That is so interesting. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, it shows you that it doesn't take much to
Nope.
create delicious food
You don't
and
need
vegetarian food at that, right?
much. Exactly. And vegetarian, we also have vegan food. So
Yeah.
we have different varieties and we cater to different, palates. So
Yeah.
it's about diversity and it's about history.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, because Utsa and I had met up for a coffee the other day, and we are going into all the amazing healing properties of spices, and she could which she'll explain to us now. But it was just so amazing how much Bengali culture. It's just the food is so healing, and I was absolutely just blown away by all the history and everything you're telling me. Like, this is so amazing. I didn't know any of this. So good. So you focus on Bengali recipes. So talk to me then about the Practical Cook, how it started and what you offer with the Practical Cook.
So I started the Practical Cook less than a year ago. It was due to COVID, but this is where I started bringing my passion of cooking, just Instagramming, basically putting up recipes.
Yeah.
And then what I thought was, I mean, yes, I could put up recipes and I could, write a list of spices. But for someone who's not from India, why would he or she go outside and buy a huge packet of spice?
Yeah.
An Indian spice that would probably be used once or twice, and then you'll be keeping it at the back of your cabinet and then probably finding those little bugs coming out and be like, oh my God, no, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
So here it is all about easy cooking, where you get the flavors of Bengal, but ultimately the packaging, it serves too. Because when you're having a very different meal, a meal that is foreign to you, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to keep it and have it for 2 or 3 days at a time. Yes, you'd probably want to have it for dinner. And if there's a leftover, you'll probably have it for lunch the next day. But would you have it for 2 or 3 days, or would you want to make it in bulk? No, you wouldn't want that. So this is all about practicality.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go spice shopping. Everything is there in the mixture itself. And I make the spices, the blend of these spices, whenever I get the order. So it's not pre-made and kept, because I always believe that the essence of spice is important, especially when it's hand ground. Because when you're grinding it in a mixer or grinder, you're basically taking out all the essential flavors and the oils. So you need to get the taste of the spices. You need to bite into them.
Yeah.
And I do want to break the myth about Indian food being spicy or it's not good for my stomach. That's one thing that I always hear. So, spices have a lot of benefits. It's not going to make your stomach upset.
Yeah.
First thing is that, because, when you're adding nowadays, I think it's been a trend for 2 or 3 years that we've seen about turmeric milk or the golden tea latte or the golden latte picking up.
Yeah.
You about it 5 years back. No one.
Yeah.
So someone made it famous. Why?
Yes.
Because turmeric has its healing qualities, and that's a spice too, right?
Yeah.
And then you have so many other, spiced teas and spiced lattes and spiced everything coming up. So even right now, it's a season for pumpkin spice, right?
Yes.
How is it made? I mean, it's just a couple of spices. It's ginger, it's cloves, it's cinnamon, and of course, it has nutmeg. So 4 spices, and you can make your own pumpkin spice latte at home.
Wow.
So
I love a pumpkin spice latte. And that's the American coming on me.
But isn't it so nice to, all these spices actually, it's just the way it makes us feel ultimately.
Yeah.
You sip on a nice pumpkin spice latte and you feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just adding a couple of spices and then all of a sudden you go like, this is the season that I want this.
Yeah.
When you're feeling like you've exhausted yourself or you want some boosters, you go for a turmeric milk, right?
Yeah.
So all these things are, of course, we as Indians, we treat spices as medicine. So it goes beyond our kitchen. So don't be scared to experiment with the spices, because ultimately they have their own benefits.
Yeah.
And there's nothing called too much or too less. It's all about what you want. So you have to understand how much you want to take it in. And ultimately, it's all about experimenting in the kitchen. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's born a chef, or no one's born with these amazing magical powers to create this blend of, recipes that are perfect.
Yeah.
And there's nothing called the perfect recipe. Everybody makes their own recipes, and it's all about making it your own. So that is all I say about spices too. I mean, play along with the spices, because every spice has their own benefits, even chilies.
Now, explain to me, because there is such a hype about turmeric. The other day, you were telling me that in order for turmeric to have the most health benefits, you add pepper to it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And why? Why is that?
So, of course, turmeric, the compound is curcumin.
Yeah.
So that compound itself, turmeric, takes a little bit of time to be absorbed by the body. And of course, it has so many benefits: anti-inflammatory, it has antioxidants, and it has pain relieving qualities. So we believe that when you get hurt a little bit, or you just kind of rub your elbows into the wall and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Or you're feeling these cramps, or you're feeling these body aches or knee aches. What do we usually do? We apply a mixture of turmeric and ghee on the wound itself, or we drink a cup of turmeric milk. But now if we add pepper, that is black pepper, just a pinch of it, it helps in the absorption of the compound, that is curcumin, 2000% more. So that helps in absorption. And ultimately, you want your body to absorb all the benefits of turmeric.
Yeah.
And pepper itself, again, has a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
And especially when it's the cold and flu season, which is right now.
Yeah.
So even if you add a little bit of pepper to your milk and you add a little bit of turmeric, it will help you with the influenza and, feeling well. And for us, we do believe that all the blocked nose and, we've got sinus ache. So these are the things that help us relieve our bodies. And it's not going to be magic. You're not going to feel instantly like I'm going to take a medicine, or I'm going to take a tablet of ibuprofen. I'm going to feel good in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's all in your head. It's about believing. And you have to give it time. You have to give, it's about falling in love. You cannot date spices. You have to fall in love with spices.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? Because there's some people that really love a certain spice and others that can't handle another spice just because they haven't fallen in love with it, and they may never fall in love with it at all. Which is interesting because I've been using a lot of turmeric, and is it okay to add honey to your turmeric? Does that help with the benefits?
So honey is basically it has different benefits altogether.
Yeah.
Honey is good because some people use it as an alternative to sweeteners. Honey again has its own medicinal properties because there's a saying that when you wake up in the morning and drink a glass of hot water with lemon and honey, it helps with losing weight and increase your metabolism. But again, when you are actually mixing honey with warm milk, it kind of soothes you down, just like any essential oil like lavender would do to you. Right? You want a good night's sleep, you add a little bit of nutmeg. And then voila, you're going to sleep like a baby without any negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Because nutmeg is supposed to be that kind of spice that helps you and eases out your, negative thoughts and kind of eases you down. Just like saffron and cardamom. So saffron, of course, we thought it was an aphrodisiac. It does has libido enhancing properties.
Yeah.
But along with that, with people fighting depression, I think all of us at some point or the other in our life, we do suffer from anxiety, or we do suffer from, self-doubt, or so many other things. There's so many problems going on, right? So a little bit of saffron if you're adding to a turmeric milk. And that's what exactly my packages of turmeric milk has. So it has cinnamon, it has saffron, it has pepper, it has cardamom. So all the good qualities of the spices where you're not going to get overwhelmed with so much of, flavors.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about, calming you down and giving you a nice, good drink. Because at times people don't like the flavor of turmeric. It's overpowering.
Yeah.
So it's all about bringing that and toning it down and giving you a nice blend of spices. But ultimately, when you're drinking these or when you're making something out of spices, yes, you would, like some of the spices. Sometimes you wouldn't, We all have our own taste. Like some people like wine, some people like beer. It's we all of us are born with different taste buds.
Yeah.
Ultimately, treat spice at times as medicines.
Yeah.
Rather than, thinking I don't like it, I'm not going to use it.
God, that's so, it's such a beautiful thing that we can just go to our kitchen cabinets, and this is what's happening in society. A lot of times we're not taught to, if you're sick, you go straight to the doctor, which, okay, fine. But it's amazing if we were taught as a society how you can just take a few spices or use what's in your cabinets to help soothe you. Because a lot of times what happens is we're sick, but a lot of it is brought on because we're mentally not feeling well. There's something going on inside of us. But if we can soothe ourselves with saffron because of anxiety, this should be taught in schools from a very young age,
Because ultimately, you don't want to go out there and pop medicines, right?
No.
Of course, you would. If it's too bad, if you're having a cold for the past 5 days, then go ahead, take your medicine. But first try, give your body a chance to fight.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And spices are like helping your body to fight against all these diseases or all these bacteria. You want to make your body internally strong. And then most of the things, it's also in our head that, okay, I'm feeling too sick, I need a medicine. No, just go to your cabin and open a spice box or open one of your favorite spices. Just make up a drink, cook it, put it in your curries, or just put it in your rice and have it. And then you'll find, you might just feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of it's in our mind, isn't it? And it's just using it as an aphrodisiac. I never can say that properly. Just to trick yourself out of, feeling like crap. Now, so you moved from the States to Frankfurt. So how long have you been in Frankfurt then?
Close to 2 years. So around 1.5, 2.
And so tell me about your experience with Frankfurt and cooking, because I know we were talking about the other day that Frankfurt was quite a big struggle and kind of trying to settle into a new society and new language, and plus trying to do your business. Let's talk about how you use cooking as well as quite a meditative and helped you basically kind of get out of a funk, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So cooking, of course, when I moved to Frankfurt, the language was a struggle. It still is.
Yeah.
And there is, of course, a point where you feel like, what am I doing? I, of course, felt that, like, what am I doing? So I vented out my feelings in cooking. So that was my happy zone. This is where I felt that, yes, let me make something up for myself. This is what I really want. And cooking has been my passion for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Frankfurt and I started talking about, this is what I cook, and I'm particularly saying about Bengali cuisine and not Indian. So that's when people started questioning, like, what is Bengali cuisine? Nobody really knows much about it. Even when you step out of India and you talk about Bengali cuisine, hardly people know about our history or what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's when I started my page, and then I registered for my business, and I started, not just selling the spice mixes, but I also used to give cooking classes online. And then I used to hire a chef till the time I could do, because now I'm pregnant and I can't carry. But I do want to continue this next year as well, when I'm fit and able to give the private chef experience, wherein people can learn how to cook and also get the flavors, while you're standing along with me. It's not about just learning or taking down notes, because ultimately it's your nose that's doing your job, right?
Yeah.
You're smelling, you're taking in the aromas, and you're knowing that, okay, these are the different spices, and you can cook too. Because at times people are very scared, like, oh God, what if I make, give an extra bit of heat, or what if I put in some extra cumin? It's absolutely okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's all about experimenting. And that is what I want to tell people, that don't be afraid of spices. And that is what my cooking classes are all about. It's about having fun, getting to know each other, our different cultures, because ultimately we can cook up something which is probably an intercultural mix, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about talking about Bengali food. And next year, touch wood, if things are all right, I do want to start having pop-ups where I can, have more people and talk about and give them a taste of Bengal, because that is what I go by.
Yeah.
Giving people a taste of Bengal, because ultimately no one's tasted Bengali food.
Well, and I mean, it's super important, especially after COVID, that you can provide a space for people to experiment with Bengali food, something. So this is new. So they're experiencing something new for the first time, which is exciting. And it gets the endorphins going. 2, you're creating a community for people to meet.
Yes.
And I mean, let's face it, food brings people together, right?
Absolutely.
If you get a whole bunch of people together, where are they going to end up? They're going to end up in the kitchen every single time. And this is what cooking and the power of the kitchen. I mean, yes, the kitchen has so much power, which is amazing. And this is why I think it's so important that you can provide this space and these spices for people to give them the opportunity to experiment. Because like you say, you've got to learn to trust your nose, learn to trust your taste buds, and that's all a process of just knowing yourself as a person and your inner self. Like, wait a minute, I don't know how to cook really well, but I do know how to taste. Exactly. So I'll know if this is off or not, right? Or you hope so.
So let your nose and your, basically your taste buds do the talking for you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I mean, yes, can you recreate a recipe? It's not something that I want people to recreate. Like, this is what I'm giving you and follow the recipe to the T. No. Yeah. Just create your own, because ultimately I do believe that all the recipes that I create, I never follow by the books. Like, I don't have things written by 1 teaspoon of this and half, because I'll never remember that way. But ultimately, it's all about smelling, tasting, and always taste the food. Whenever you're cooking, the first stage, okay, taste. Second, taste. If you're adding spices, taste, because that's how you know. And whatever you eat in the restaurant, you don't have to recreate that, because ultimately what you create in your kitchen is better than what you get in the restaurant, because that's something from your heart.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a nice point too. Cooking does come from the heart. I know a lot of people don't feel that way because they don't consider themselves cooks. But as you said before, it takes practice. And the more that you do it and you try a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have some awful dishes. I mean, I had an awful dish not so long ago and I followed the instructions and it was terrible. Okay, so I won't do that next time. I'll try it a new way. And the funny thing is before I messed up the recipe, I thought, I think
maybe I should just stick to this. I think this is going to be good. I'll just stick to this. And I was like, no, but I want an experiment tonight. So it's also good to, like you said, trust yourself when you think, no, I think this tastes right. This is okay. Then leave it, which is, like you said, with experimenting with food, which I'm just now starting.
So that is the thing. I mean, sometimes, as I said, people take cooking or these cooking classes as Tinder dates, but it's not. It's not. It is not. You're not going to, swipe left and swipe right about recipes, right? It's all about giving it time. It's about falling in love and getting married ultimately, because you're going to have those ups and downs, right? You're going to have these pathetic food one day that you're going to end up cooking. And one day you're going to feel really bad about it. Like, today I don't feel like cooking. I'm just going to put something, make a mishmash. It's absolutely okay.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's something what comes from the heart and which is served on a platter that is made by you.
Yeah.
I mean, it can never be bad.
And it's interesting too, because once you do nail a recipe that you think is or your own recipe, and it's improved, and you're just like, yes, you feel so good about yourself afterwards. And it's amazing too when your friends and family taste it. Like, this is great. And you're like, yes, I am a hero,
You feel like you're on top of the world. But you know what? At times we wait for people to give us compliments about our food.
Yeah. And you need to believe that yourself, don't you?
Yes. And sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Because you think you've done an amazing job and you taste it and feel so good about it. Like, this is going to be the showstopper. And then people go like, it's okay. But ultimately, when you are cooking, you should be the judge.
Yeah.
If you love it, then others would ultimately fall in love with it. Don't wait for others to love your food. You need to like your own food first.
That's so true. Because if you like it, I mean, ultimately, you want to satisfy your friends and family, but ultimately, like you said, food is for you, right? Food is, because everyone has different taste buds. So it's honoring your taste buds. And that's really, really good. Now, coming from India, you guys have a lot of rituals. Mm-hmm. You guys are very spiritual. Do you have any rituals or that you practice, or would you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Of course. So, like, since my baby is coming and I'm talking about food, we have this ritual called Onnoprashan. That means, again, as I said, Bengali, that means rice and fish has to be omnipresent.
Yeah.
So the baby, till he or she is 6 months old, well, it's a she, then it's 5 and 7. And if it's a he, it's a 6 and 8.
Okay.
So the first rice that they get is something, it's like a big ritual. So they would be fed the first rice, the first piece of fish, or the first piece of kheer, that is rice and milk mixture. It is the best ritual for a baby, ultimately, because he or she is stepping into the world of culinary delight.
Oh, nice. I love this.
And for us, it is very important. This is something that, defines what he's going to be like in the future, because, this is all we have. We kind of lay down everything, like books in front of him and gold and pens. And then ultimately, before tasting the rice, he has to choose something from either of them. Like, either he touches the book or the gold or the pen. So depending on what he touches, we tell, or we give him blessings like, okay, you've touched the book. That means you're going to be someone with academics and you're going to be brilliant in your studies. If you touch gold, then you're going to be rich. So these are the simple rituals. I mean, I know no one really kind of believes that it's going to happen in the future, but this is what is, step forward into being a big man or a big, grown up woman and entering the world. But most importantly for us, it's all about food. So for Bengalis, it has to start with food. And 6 months is the stepping stone to getting your taste buds treated into some really good food. So this is something that we follow.
That's really, it just shows you how cultures are built around food, and how a lot of cultures lost their connection to food. This is why we have a lot of problems in the Western world, right? With people don't take care of themselves. They don't know what they're eating. They eat their food while they're on the run. Yeah. Okay. We all have those moments where we don't have the time, but the whole idea is that body, mind, connection with food, right? And
Yes.
how healthy that is. And I guess that would be considered Ayurvedic, right? Having this mind, body, food connection.
Absolutely. So, of course, we eat with our hands. That's how we get the taste.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when I'm again going back to Bengali cuisine, right? What kind of food we are given, it is more into stages. The first stage is just about adding some vegetables with your lentils. That's the first meal per se. I mean,
Okay.
when you're talking about different, like a three-course meal. Okay,
Yeah.
the first course is dal or lentils along with some veggies and some greens.
Yeah.
Next is, of course, the curry. So it can be egg, it can be vegetarian, it can be meat, it can be fish. So you're getting your carbs, you're getting your proteins, you're getting your greens, and you're getting your veggies as well.
Yeah.
And the last course is all about something sweet, right? Because ultimately, we believe when you're eating something, it has to end on a sweet note. But it's not necessarily that it has to be something which is adding calories.
Yeah.
So a simple yogurt, which is, of course, it helps in digestion.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's probiotic. And then you add a little bit of honey, or we have a specialty called mishti doi, which is basically a sweet yogurt which is caramelized, and it's amazing to taste. But these are the rituals that we have. And even after moving outside, for me, I can never have food without, okay, I do skip the dessert, but not every day do I eat something sweet, but I do have yogurt with it. I do start my lunch with a lentil and some greens and some veggies, and then goes the curry. So, of course, when you're on the run, you need something to go. You need a wrap, or you need a roll,
Yeah.
or you need a sandwich. But when you're ultimately sitting at home, you want to enjoy your lunch.
Yeah.
And you want to get the taste of each and everything that you've cooked. And
Yeah.
you need to chew. And that's how you're going to get it. And
Yeah.
not probably be on Netflix or chatting with someone, because ultimately you won't really pay attention to food.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about a mutual respect that you have for food itself, because for us, we consider food as one of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot disrespect God, and we never ever waste food. So that is
Yeah.
something that we've learned, because if you're wasting, that means you're actually, degrading the God, or the God's going to be really angry at you, because ultimately what you're provided is something to be grateful.
Interesting.
So
Interesting. And so then how do you guys wasting food? Do you use that food and make it into something else for the next night? Or do you just take or you only cook what you know you're going to eat?
So for us, it's always the warm food, right? Because
Yeah.
when I moved to Frankfurt, there is warm and there's cold. So
Yeah.
I never knew what cold food was till the time I got to know it was Brot and Käse. So for us, it is always warm.
Okay.
Of course, I can't cook twice a day. I mean, that would be too much of an effort.
Yeah.
But it has to be something which cannot be eaten cold.
Okay.
So a lentil, you cannot have it with cold rice or cold lentil. That's going to not taste good.
Yeah, that's not going to taste great.
No. So you just warm them up. And if there's an extra, people have a lot of leftover rice.
Yeah.
And then at times they don't know what to do. And then it's lying somewhere in your refrigerator, and the next couple of days you just throw it. But ultimately, just experiment with rice and just make your own recipes. And that's what we tend to do. If there's a leftover, if there's a curry, or if there's, dried something, we make sandwiches out of it, we make wraps out of it.
Nice.
Rice, we make these different fritters out of it, or we make a complete fried rice, like a normal pish pash of all the vegetables with a little bit of spice, and that's it. But we never waste food.
Yeah. Do you find that in India, and especially in Bengali culture, do you feel that it's been more westernized, or is it still very, very, what it originally used to be or is?
Well, I wouldn't say it's westernized per se. Right now, we do have our rituals going on. It is one of the biggest festival. It's the Durga Puja, which is basically it's celebrated for 10 days. But there isn't anything happening in Frankfurt, which is sad.
Yeah.
But for us, it is all about celebration. And ultimately, it's about good over bad. So
Okay.
even if you're not having a feast, even if you're not wearing new clothes, because it's accustomed to buy new clothes for 10 days and go out and meet up with your relatives and friends and have a lot of food and gala and just have a good time. But ultimately, what is it that we're celebrating is we're celebrating women power, because she's a goddess, she's a devi, and it's
Amazing.
about how she kills the demon.
Okay.
And ultimately, I mean, for us as human beings, we always believe, there's a saying that my grandmom always used to say, that yes, we do have these statues of God, right? But I mean, who knows what is God per se?
Yeah.
We've never seen him or her.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the God that we think we worship lies within us.
Yeah.
So it's all about killing our inner demons and the outer demons, and basically rejoicing the fact that yes, we can overcome everything, the negativity, and just, be a new self and rise like a phoenix.
Yeah.
So these 10 days are all about that. Just, believing in the power that you have within you and celebrating yourself. And especially for women, it's about celebrating the power that we have, or we've been bestowed about as being a woman. Because I think I per se, or all the women per se, should believe in themselves. And it's all
Yeah.
about women empowerment that we are talking about. But ultimately, I mean, societal pressure and society, at times we have these self-doubts.
Yeah.
So this is the time when we should stop and we should just celebrate every little achievement that we have, even
Yeah.
if it's burning up food and then making the next batch, which is perfect.
That's me too. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to start over again. But then you're like, but it gives me an opportunity to do it better the next time. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is all about it. So we are connected to spirituality, and we are connected to, that ultimate power that we always believe that exists. We've
Yeah.
never seen, but probably we felt.
Yeah. Completely. It is that inner feeling, isn't it? And what an amazing culture that has celebration to celebrate the he or she God, but that is ultimately in us. And if we could celebrate ourselves more in any society, in any culture, and give ourselves a pat on the back, especially as women, going, we rock, man. Like we are super powerful beings. I think that's so beautiful, because then, in your culture, women are praised, and that's amazing. That's really
Women, well, I wouldn't say women are praised. Women fought for themselves to be praised.
exactly. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
and the battle is an ongoing one.
Of course it is.
You will have to, but ultimately it's about fighting your own battles and coming together and empowering each other. So it would be great if women just come across and say, you're doing great and you're doing awesome. And that's it. I mean, that's all we want to hear.
Yeah.
Someone telling us that we are doing a good job. And if there's no one telling us, then it should be us telling ourselves that
Yeah.
we are awesome.
Well, it's the same, like you said, with the food, right? You can ultimately cook this amazing dish for your whole family, but you're cooking it for you. You need to believe in yourself. Everything is about, no one is responsible for your happiness. Yes, it's nice to get complimented, because at times you do need that pat on the back or that reassurance from other people. But once you start believing in yourself, you don't need that reassurance anymore, because you totally tapped into your own power, which is amazing what you're doing with your culture and how you believe, but also with what you're doing with your business and helping people empower themselves through cooking and through spices, and taking that responsibility from themselves and say, okay, I want to live a better life. I want to live a healthier life. I can do this. And you're providing that for them, which is really great, because like this podcast, talks about, everyone needs to find their own therapeutic way. Everyone needs to find what works for them. And for many, it's cooking. For many, it's drinking that turmeric, honey, milk, pepper concoction that will make you feel so much better and warm and fuzzy inside. And I'm looking forward to when you are on your feet with your baby, doing some more cooking classes. We can just form an amazing, powerful womanhood of cooking.
Absolutely. And then I would also want women with their babies. I mean, just
Yes.
come along. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's all about building a community where
Yeah.
we help each other grow and we support each other in
Yeah.
every way possible.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the nice thing. It's like you said, it's all about community.
Exactly.
And if that means food creates that community, or a cooking class can bring people together, so be it. Amazing. But it's ultimately, like you said, supporting each other and building each other up, because this is all we've got, you know? And you're more powerful together than you are on your own. And this is what needs to be preached to every woman, because it's fine if you want to do it on your own, but a lot of times it's not about competing. It's about, I can help you, you can help me, you can share this, you know, it's collaboration, which is beautiful.
And that you're not alone. I mean, yes, you're going through a phase which is not that great, but it's okay. We've also been through it, or we will be going through it.
Exactly.
So it's all about having a community which is honest to each other and talks about real problems.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because Utsa and I were talking about this the other day when we are having a cup of coffee. And it is a problem, I think, these days, where, you know, we both came from, different places to Frankfurt. I came from London, you came from the US. And unfortunately, you know, the experience was sold differently for us. It's sold as this is going to be an easy process, and it wasn't, which is fine. And as women, we're pretty robust and we find our way. But this is where it's really important, like Utsa and I, individuals like us, bringing a community together of women, because a lot of times, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm fine. But actually, in deep inside, you're going, no, I'm actually not okay. I really want to talk about it.
And we just want someone to also be honest about it. Because you know what? We kind of replicate what the other person is feeling. When someone's telling us, oh, I'm okay, then we are in two minds. Should I share my problems, or should I just say it's okay? And with Instagram and Facebook, come on. I mean, we all think everybody's having the perfect life.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, no one really looks at the imperfection, and that is what the community is all about.
Completely.
You know, honest conversations with real women who are ready to open up about their struggles. Because if you're opening up, then you'll feel way better, because ultimately you'll get to know that you're not alone.
Yes.
We are there for you. We've been there, and this is how we can help you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, this podcast is about editing the future you. And what would you like to see the future you doing? Clearly, we've talked a lot about community in your cooking classes. You're going to be a new mother soon, which is amazing. So, describe the future you. What do you want to see happen for you in the next few years?
Well, in the next few years, so first I'll start off with my pregnancy. When I became pregnant, I had a lot of self-doubt, because it just went like, okay, I had so much of plans for this year, and then ultimately I'm pregnant. So now it took a little bit of time for my mind and body to be connected, because my mind was still, I'm not pregnant, and my body is like, hey, you're pregnant.
No way getting around that. Like, hello.
No, I don't have the energy, and I can't do so many things. So ultimately it was a struggle for me to accept the fact that I can't be everywhere, and I can't be doing so many stuff, and I ultimately have to take a step back. But for me, when I thought of taking the step back, that felt like I'm going down. You know, what's going to happen to me, and where's my individuality? Am I still going to be Utsa, or I'm just going to be the mother, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I am still struggling with. But ultimately, what I promised myself was, I can never be a good mother until and unless I am what I am today.
Yeah.
So I have to be myself. And then this is the value that I want to bring or give to my child, that ultimately you be you.
Yeah.
And don't wait for others, or don't kind of make your world about others. Involve them, bring them in, but this is your world. So this is what I want to go ahead in the next couple of years, you know, doing what I do. That is, talking about Bengali food. Future plans, I do want to have a food truck or a pop-up or even a restaurant where people can come and eat, but that is of course a long shot. But ultimately, pop-ups is something that I want to do. Having community events where it's all about getting women together, cooking up, having conversations heart to heart.
Yeah.
And, it could be any kind of workshop which is therapeutic. If it's cooking, then awesome. We have so many different women in our community with so much of talent. So
Yeah.
I really want to bring that community together, wherein we can help each other grow and have more women joining us, where ultimately, women don't feel that they are alone in it. Because once, when you leave your country or when you leave your comfort zone, it is a phase of depression that you're going through. No matter how much pictures you click on Instagram and how great you feel that, I'm in a new country, ultimately you're alone. You don't have friends. It takes time to build that. Right? So dealing with that and giving each other support is what I want to do, along with, of course, giving people the taste of Bengal and letting people know about Bengali cuisine through cooking workshops and my spice mixes. And networking is something that is my focus.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that because that's exactly what is needed right now. And it's unbelievable how many women I talk to, even just in Frankfurt, that really are struggling to find their community. And I think, well, then let's create it. It's not going to be created for us. We're going to have to do it ourselves. So if all of us can get together and create a beautiful community, and doesn't matter what you do. That's the thing. You're not defined by what you're doing. It's about you're a beautiful human being. Come on in, let's chat.
Exactly.
Everyone has something to offer the world. And it's amazing that you want to give that opportunity for people to offer what they have to the world, which is really great.
And I think it's all about acceptance as well.
Yeah.
That is something so important, because ultimately, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's life, maybe it's too much of stress that we at times do not have the power of acceptance.
Yeah.
And we have this shield in front of us. It's all about, getting over the shield, because not two people are same.
Yeah.
But it's all about accepting each other and, growing together. And it's not me. But I always believe that if it's about we, and you have to overcome the feeling that this is my battle. It's not.
Yeah.
You're not fighting alone. Then it's not a battle at all.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a battalion.
Yeah.
We women come together. That would be one hell of a battle.
I mean, yes, because like you said, we're extremely powerful beings, and we need to know our worth. We need to know that we're basically superpowers, how much power we have. I had one guest on here and she just kept saying, you need to know how powerful you are. Own that, take that. And as soon as you can get a whole bunch of women in a room knowing their own power, then things are magical. Things get done, and then the world, literally, you can feel the vibration, the frequency. It's just chill. It's peaceful. Things are working. It's running. And I think, this will be a beautiful thing to see develop, because I know it's going to happen, which is going to be great. Everyone will be like, I got to move to Frankfurt. There's like an amazing women's movement.
Oh my God, that would be amazing, right?
Like, we got to make it happen. It's like, yes. Well, what I will do is link everything so people can find your spices and your website and all the amazing tips you have. Also with Utsa's Instagram, she has a great reels and recipe ideas and spices and all that stuff. So it's really quite fascinating. So definitely start following her, and keep up with her when following her new addition to her family. And it'll be quite interesting to watch as well. You develop recipes with the little one and all that good stuff. That's going to be really great. It's really nice.
That'll be like getting more superpowers.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing when you've had a child, what you can do. You can basically do like 50 things at once, plus hold the child, plus catch the child when they're like 10 meters away. Somehow your arm grows.
Oh my God.
Them. It's amazing. So it's It's always a fun thing to do when you're in the kitchen cooking and holding the baby and doing this and this and this. And you're like, yes. Well, thank you so much, Utsa, for being on here today and sharing your wisdom and talking about your business. And it's super amazing. I'm very excited for you.
Well, thank you so much again. And we need to meet up more to talk about women empowerment.
Oh my God, definitely. Yep. Yeah, we will do that.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you're hearing, please like us, subscribe, and tell your friends. You can follow us on Instagram, The Future Edit. And for more information about my guest and myself, you can head to thefutureedit.com. Until next time, ciao.